The apartment felt different that evening. Maybe it was the way she sat on the couch, her posture rigid, arms crossed. Or maybe it was the silence that had grown between them over the past months, thick and suffocating like fog. "We need to talk," she said, her voice flat, emotionless. He looked up from his laptop, already knowing this conversation wouldn't end well. 6 years of marriage had taught him to read her moods, and tonight, something fundamental had shifted in her eyes. "Okay," he replied, closing the computer slowly. "What's on your mind?" She didn't look at him when she spoke. Her eyes fixed on some distant point beyond the window, beyond their life together. "I don't love you anymore. I haven't for a while now. I feel nothing when I look at you." The words hung in the air like shattered glass. He'd expected problems, maybe a request for counseling, perhaps complaints about his long work hours or lack of attention. But this complete emotional void? "Nothing," he repeated, his voice steady despite the hollow feeling expanding in his chest. "Nothing," she confirmed, finally meeting his gaze. Her eyes were cold, devoid of the warmth he'd fallen in love with years ago. "I think I might have feelings for someone else. Someone who makes me feel alive again." There it was. The real truth beneath the surface. He nodded slowly, processing the information with an eerie calm that surprised even himself. Part of him wanted to fight, to argue, to demand answers. But another part, the part that had watched her grow distant over the past year, simply accepted the inevitable. "How long?" he asked. "Does it matter?" "I suppose not." He stood up, walked to the bedroom, and pulled out the old duffel bag from the closet. She followed him, confusion replacing the cold determination on her face. "What are you doing?" "Leaving," he said simply, opening drawers and methodically packing clothes. "You feel nothing. There's no point in staying." "Wait, I thought we'd discuss logistics, figure out the apartment, maybe wait until." "Until what?" He turned to face her, and for the first time in months, she saw something sharp in his expression. Not anger, not hurt, but clarity. "You don't love me. You want someone else. There's nothing to discuss. You can have the apartment. I'll arrange to get my stuff later." "You're just going to walk out? Tonight? Just like that? Would you prefer I stay and make this more painful for both of us?" He zipped the bag shut and grabbed his laptop. "I'm not going to beg someone to love me. I'm not going to fight for someone who feels nothing." His calmness unnerved her. This wasn't the reaction she'd expected. She'd anticipated tears, maybe anger, certainly resistance. Instead, he moved through the apartment like a ghost, collecting essentials, toiletries, charger, important documents. "Where will you even go?" "A hotel tonight. I'll figure out the rest tomorrow." He stood by the door, bag over his shoulder, and took one last look at the space they'd called home. "I hope you find what you're looking for. I really do." "That's it. 6 years and you're just done." He paused, his hand on the doorknob. "You were done first. You just took longer to say it." He opened the door, then turned back one final time. "And for what it's worth, I did love you. Completely. But I won't love someone who can look me in the eye and say they feel nothing." The door closed behind him with a soft click, not a slam. No drama, no scene, just a quiet exit that somehow felt more final than any argument could have been. She stood in the empty apartment, surrounded by the silence she'd created, and felt the first tremor of something she hadn't expected, doubt. But she pushed it away, thinking of the excitement waiting for her, the new person who made her pulse race. She'd made her choice. He walked into the cool night air, each step taking him further from the life he'd known. His phone buzzed, already a message from his brother offering a place to stay. He accepted, got in his car, and drove away without looking back. The old life was over. Whatever came next would be built on his own terms. 3 months had passed since that night. He'd moved into a modest one-bedroom apartment across town, signed the divorce papers without contest, and systematically began reconstructing his life from the ground up. The first month had been the hardest. Nights alone in the new space, surrounded by half-empty rooms and the echo of his own footsteps. He'd allowed himself 2 weeks to feel everything: the grief, the rejection, the loss. Then he'd made a decision. He would become the person he'd neglected while trying to save a dying marriage. The gym membership came first. Every morning at 6, before work, he was there. Not to impress anyone or prove anything, but because the physical exertion gave him clarity. Endorphins replaced anxiety. Strength training rebuilt more than just muscle. It reconstructed his confidence, rep by rep. His co-worker Jake noticed the changes first. "Man, you look different. Better. What's going on?" "Divorce," he replied simply, finishing a set of pull-ups. "Turns out getting your heart broken is a decent motivator." Jake laughed, but there was sympathy in his eyes. "Been there. Listen, some of us grab dinner Thursday nights, play basketball on weekends. You should join." He'd accepted, and slowly, his social circle expanded. People who'd been acquaintances became friends. He discovered he actually enjoyed rock climbing when Sarah from accounting invited the group to try it. He learned to cook properly when David hosted meal prep Sundays. Work improved too. The mental fog that had clouded his last year of marriage lifted. His boss noticed, commenting on his renewed focus and creativity. A promotion opportunity emerged, a position he'd always wanted but never had the energy to pursue. This time, he went after it aggressively and got it. The new role came with challenges and longer hours, but he thrived. Without the emotional drain of trying to revive a dead relationship, he had energy to invest in himself and his career. His team respected him. His ideas gained traction. He felt competent, valued, purposeful. By month 3, he barely recognized himself. 15 pounds of muscle gained, a promotion secured, a calendar full of social activities with people who genuinely enjoyed his company. He'd started taking salsa classes, terrifying at first, but exhilarating. He'd gone on a few casual dates, nothing serious, just reminders that someone could be interested in him. His social media, once barely used, now reflected his new life. Photos from the climbing gym, his basketball team winning their rec league championship, a group shot at a friend's birthday dinner where genuine laughter lit up everyone's faces. He looked happy because he was happy. Not the manic happiness of someone running from pain, but the steady contentment of someone who'd found solid ground. "You've really come into your own," his sister commented during their weekly phone call. "I haven't heard you sound this good in years." She was right. Even during the supposedly happy years of his marriage, he'd been stressed, always trying harder, always feeling like he wasn't enough. Now, freed from that weight, he discovered he was more than enough. He was building something real. What he didn't know was that his ex-wife had been watching. She'd unfollowed him on social media after the divorce, needing clean separation to pursue her new relationship. But curiosity had gotten the better of her. One night, scrolling through mutual friends' photos, she'd spotted him in the background of a picture. Curious, she'd clicked through to his profile. What she saw shocked her. This wasn't the defeated man she'd expected to find, still nursing wounds from her rejection. This was someone transformed, confident, social, genuinely happy. Surrounded by people. Living a full life. A better life than the one he'd had with her. Her new relationship, meanwhile, had lost its luster. The excitement that had seemed so intoxicating at first had faded quickly. Her new partner was exciting but unreliable, passionate but selfish. The grass she'd thought was greener was just artificial turf, bright but hollow underneath. She found herself comparing constantly. The way her ex had always remembered her coffee order. How he'd listen when she talked about work stress. The stability she'd taken for granted. She'd convinced herself these things were boring, that she needed more excitement, more passion. Now, watching him thrive without her, something uncomfortable twisted in her chest. Regret? Jealousy? Pride? She couldn't name it, but she couldn't look away. She clicked through photo after photo, seeing the life he'd built. A life that looked fuller, richer, happier than anything they'd shared. And for the first time since that night she'd told him she felt nothing. She felt something intensely, loss. The text message came on a Thursday evening while he was meal prepping for the week. "Hey, How have you been? He stared at the screen, recognizing the number immediately despite having deleted the contact months ago. His first instinct was to ignore it, but curiosity won out. Fine. You, he typed back, keeping it neutral. Good. Well, mostly good. Can we talk? Maybe grab coffee sometime. He set down his phone and returned to chopping vegetables. The request sat unanswered for 2 hours while he finished cooking, ate dinner, and considered his options. Finally, he replied, I don't think that's a good idea. Take care of yourself. Her response came within seconds. Please. I just need to explain some things. 1 coffee. That's all I'm asking. There's nothing to explain. You were clear about how you felt. I respected that and moved on. I hope you found what you were looking for. His phone rang. He let it go to voicemail. It rang again. He turned it off. The next day at work, his assistant mentioned something odd. Some woman called asking about your schedule. Wouldn't give her name. Said she was an old friend trying to plan a surprise. I didn't give out any information, obviously, but it felt weird. A cold realization settled over him. Thanks for letting me know. If she calls again, you can tell her I'm not interested in reconnecting. That weekend, he was at his usual Saturday morning cafe, the one near the climbing gym, working on his laptop before meeting the group. He'd just ordered his coffee when he saw her walk in. She'd clearly come looking for him. Her eyes scanned the room with purpose until they landed on his table. Something flickered across her face, determination mixed with uncertainty. He watched her approach, keeping his expression neutral. Hi, she said, stopping at his table. I thought I might find you here. Jake mentioned you'd gotten into climbing, and this is the closest cafe to the gym, so. You tracked down my coworker to find out my schedule. I just wanted to talk. You won't answer my messages. Because I have nothing to say. He closed his laptop and started packing up his things. I hope you're doing well, but I'm meeting friends soon. Wait, please. She sat down uninvited, her eyes showing something he'd never seen there before, desperation. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. I've been thinking about it constantly, and I. Stop. His voice was firm but not angry. Whatever you're about to say, don't. You don't get to do this. Do what? Tell you the truth? Tell you that I was wrong, that I let the best thing in my life walk away because I was stupid and selfish. You weren't wrong about your feelings. You felt nothing, you said so yourself. Those were your true feelings, and I accepted them. What happened? The new relationship didn't work out. She flinched. That's not fair. Isn't it? He leaned back, studying her with the detachment of someone examining an old photograph. Let me guess, the excitement wore off. The person who seemed so much better than boring, reliable me turned out to be less than advertised. Now you're looking at my life, seeing that I'm doing well, and suddenly you remember all my good qualities. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Because from where I'm sitting, this looks like buyer's remorse. You traded in something solid for something shiny, and now you want a return policy. Her eyes filled with tears. I miss you. I miss us. I see your photos and you look so happy, and I remember when you used to look at me like that, and I was never happy like this when we were together, he interrupted. I was always trying, always working to be enough for you, always falling short. This. He gestured vaguely at himself. This is what it looks like when I'm not exhausting myself trying to earn someone's love. I did love you. I just got confused, and scared, and you told me you felt nothing. Do you know what that did to me? To look at someone you've built a life with and hear that they feel absolutely nothing when they see you. His voice remained level, but she could hear the steel beneath it. You were honest then. That honesty hurt, but it freed me. Don't take that away by lying now. I'm not lying. I'm telling you I was wrong. People make mistakes. Don't you believe in second chances? He was quiet for a long moment, then shook his head. Not for this. You didn't accidentally hurt me. You made a choice, knowing exactly what it would do. You chose someone else, and I chose to respect myself enough to walk away. Those choices have consequences. So that's it. You won't even consider. There's nothing to consider. He stood, gathering his things. I hope you find happiness. I really do. But it won't be with me. You made sure of that. She watched him walk away, the same quiet exit he'd made that night months ago. No anger, no drama, just absolute finality. As he left, his phone buzzed with a message from Sarah. Still on for climbing? We're here. He smiled, typing back, on my way. Behind him, his ex-wife sat alone at the table, understanding for the first time what she'd truly lost. She didn't stop after the cafe encounter. At first, it was more text messages, long, emotional paragraphs arriving at odd hours. He blocked her number. She started using messaging apps, creating new accounts each time he blocked the previous one. The messages varied between apologetic, desperate, angry, and manipulative. I see you're at Riverside Park a lot now. That used to be our place, remember? The implied surveillance made his skin crawl. He screenshotted everything and saved it to a folder, just in case. His friends noticed something was off during their Tuesday basketball game. He kept checking his phone between plays, his jaw tight. Everything okay? David asked during a water break. Ex-wife won't leave me alone. She's shown up at my usual spots twice now. I think she's tracking my social media to figure out my routine. Man, that's stalker behavior, Jake said, frowning. Have you considered a restraining order? It hasn't escalated that far yet. I'm hoping she'll get the message and move on. But she didn't move on. She escalated. His co-workers started mentioning unexpected visits. That woman came by again, his assistant reported. Asked if she could wait in your office. I told her you were in meetings all day, but she sat in the lobby for 3 hours. He found her waiting by his car one evening after work. We need to talk, she insisted, her appearance disheveled, her eyes red from crying. No, we don't. You need to stop this. He kept his distance, keys in hand. This isn't healthy for either of us. I can't eat, can't sleep. All I think about is what I threw away. Don't you feel anything? Doesn't 6 years mean anything to you? It meant everything. Past tense. You ended it. I've moved on. You need to do the same. How can you be so cold? Where's the man who loved me? That man wasted 2 years trying to save a relationship that was already dead. He learned his lesson. He unlocked his car door. If you show up at my workplace again, I'll file a formal complaint. If you wait by my car again, I'll call the police. These boundaries aren't negotiable. She grabbed his arm as he moved to get in the car. Please, just give me a chance to. He pulled away sharply. Do not touch me. We're done here. He drove away, checking his rearview mirror to ensure she wasn't following. This was getting out of hand. That weekend, things got worse. He'd invited some friends over to his apartment for game night, something he'd started doing monthly. Sarah, David, Jake, and a few others arrived with snacks and drinks, ready for a relaxed evening. 2 hours into the gathering, there was a knock at the door. Before he could answer it, she walked in. She'd apparently followed someone through the building's main entrance. Sorry, I know I'm crashing, but I just needed to. She stopped, seeing the group of people staring at her. Oh, you're having a party. An invited gathering. You need to leave. He stood between her and his friends, his voice firm. I just want 5 minutes. Please. No. Leave now, or I'm calling the police. Sarah stood up, recognizing the situation. Hey, you heard him. This is inappropriate. You need to go. His ex-wife's expression shifted, scanning the faces in the room. Her gaze landed on Sarah with something ugly, jealousy, accusation. Is this why? Did you leave me for her? I didn't leave you. You ended our marriage, remember? He pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police. You're trespassing." The threat finally penetrated. She looked around the room one more time, at the friends watching with a mixture of sympathy and discomfort, at the life he'd built without her, and something seemed to break. Tears streaming down her face, she turned and fled. After she left, he apologized to everyone. "I'm so sorry about that. She's been struggling with the divorce." "That's not struggling, that's stalking," David said bluntly. "You need to document this stuff and protect yourself legally." Sarah touched his arm gently. "Are you okay? That was intense." "I'm fine. Just frustrated. I've tried to be kind, to let her work through her regrets on her own, but she's not respecting any boundaries." "Maybe it's time to stop being kind and start being protective of yourself," Jake suggested. "File for the restraining order. This won't stop until there are real consequences." That night, after everyone left, he sat down and compiled everything. Screenshots of messages, dates, and times of her appearances at his workplace and home, witness statements from friends and co-workers. The documentation was damning. He felt no satisfaction in it, only a tired resignation. This was who she'd become in her regret, someone he barely recognized. The woman who'd coldly said she felt nothing had transformed into someone consumed by unwanted emotion, unable to accept that her decision had been final. Monday morning, he took the documentation to a lawyer specializing in family law. "This is textbook harassment," the lawyer said, reviewing the materials. "We can get a protective order fairly quickly given the pattern of behavior and the trespassing incident. I don't want to hurt her. I just want her to move on with her life and let me live mine." That's what the protective order will do, force necessary boundaries. Right now, she's not hearing your verbal boundaries. Maybe a legal one will get through. He signed the paperwork, feeling both relief and sadness. It shouldn't have come to this, but she'd left him no choice. The woman who'd felt nothing had become consumed by regret, and it was destroying them both. The protective order was served to her at work, delivered by a process server in front of her colleagues. He felt a pang of guilt about the public nature of it, but his lawyer had insisted. Documentation was crucial, and workplace delivery ensured a paper trail. For 2 weeks, there was blessed silence. No messages, no surprise appearances, no reports from concerned co-workers. He allowed himself to hope she'd finally understood and would begin her own healing process. Then came the violation. It happened at the climbing gym on a Saturday morning. He was halfway up an intermediate route when he saw her walk in. His hands faltered on the hold, and for a dangerous moment, he lost focus. His belayer noticed and quickly brought him down. "That's her, isn't it?" Sarah asked, having heard the full story over coffee earlier that week. "Want me to get the staff?" "Wait." He watched his ex-wife scan the gym, clearly looking for him. When their eyes met, she started walking over despite his obvious signal to stay back. "Yeah, get them. And call the police." The gym manager reached her first. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. We've been briefed about this situation. I just want to talk to him for 1 minute. That's all. Please." Her voice carried across the gym, drawing attention from other climbers. "There's a legal order preventing that contact," the manager said firmly. "You need to leave now, or we'll have the police escort you out." She looked past him, directly at her ex-husband. "Is this really what you want? Police? Legal orders? We loved each other once. Doesn't that mean anything?" He stepped forward but maintained the required distance. "It meant everything until you told me it meant nothing. I asked you to move on. You refused. You left me no other choice. I made a mistake. Why can't you forgive me?" "Forgiveness doesn't mean letting you back into my life. I forgive you for ending our marriage. I understand now that you did us both a favor. But that doesn't obligate me to give you another chance. You're not entitled to my time, my energy, or my presence just because you changed your mind. So you've just erased me. 6 years, gone, like I never mattered. Those 6 years taught me what I won't accept in a relationship anymore. They taught me to value myself enough to walk away when someone tells me I'm not enough. You gave me that gift, even if you didn't mean to. He paused, choosing his words carefully. The person I am now, the person you see in those photos, living that life you're so fixated on, that person exists because you let me go. I'm grateful for that, even if the process hurt. Sirens sounded outside. 2 police officers entered the gym. This is your choice, he said quietly. You can leave now and this stays a warning. Or you can refuse and face charges for violating the protective order. Either way, I'm not changing my mind. It's over. It's been over. You just need to accept that. For the first time since this began, something shifted in her expression. The desperate hope faded, replaced by a hollow understanding. She looked at the police, at the gym manager, at the gathered crowd of strangers witnessing her breakdown. I really did love you, she whispered. Maybe not well. Maybe not enough. But I did. I know. But love isn't enough when respect is missing. You didn't respect me enough to fight for us when we were together. You don't respect me enough now to honor my boundaries. That's not love, that's possession. She nodded slowly, tears streaming silently down her face. Without another word, she turned and walked out, passing the police officers who watched her leave. One of the officers approached him. We'll need a statement about the violation. Do you want to press charges? He watched through the window as she got into her car and drove away. Not this time. But I want it documented. If it happens again, I will. The officer nodded and took down the details. After they left, the gym manager offered him a free month membership for the trouble. He declined with thanks, just wanting to return to normal. Sarah waited until the commotion died down. You okay? Yeah. I think this might actually be the end of it. Something changed in her eyes when I said that about respect. What you said was powerful. And true. He managed a small smile. Took me a while to learn it. I spent so long thinking love was supposed to hurt, supposed to require constant effort and sacrifice. This. He gestured around the gym, at his friends, at the life he'd built. This is what it feels like when things are right. No drama, no chasing, no proving myself constantly. Just living. 6 months later, he ran into a mutual friend from the marriage days. Over coffee, the friend updated him. His ex-wife had moved to another city, started therapy, and was apparently dating someone new, slowly, carefully this time. She asked me to tell you she's sorry. Really sorry. And that she hopes you're happy. I am happy. I hope she finds the same. And he meant it. The anger had long since faded, replaced by indifference and, surprisingly, gratitude. She'd shown him what he deserved by showing him what he didn't. Every text message, every desperate appearance, every boundary violation had reinforced the lesson. He was worth more than someone's second choice, more than someone's regret, more than someone's sudden realization of what they'd lost. His life continued to expand. A new relationship developed naturally with someone from his salsa class, easy, reciprocal, built on mutual respect from day one. The contrast was stark. Where his marriage had been constant work for diminishing returns, this was effortless in the best way. You seem different than most guys I've dated, his new partner mentioned one evening after dance class. More confident, but not arrogant. Like you know your worth. Hard-earned lesson, he replied, smiling. Someone taught me what I wouldn't accept anymore by showing me exactly that. He never saw his ex-wife again. Occasionally he wondered if she'd found peace, if she'd learned from the experience, if she'd grown into someone who could love without losing herself or destroying others in the process. But mostly, he didn't think about her at all. He was too busy living the life he'd built, surrounded by people who chose him consistently, pursuing goals that mattered, becoming the person he'd always had the potential to be. The person who'd been buried under years of trying to earn love that should have been freely given. That night, months after the incident at the climbing gym, he deleted the folder of screenshots and documentation. He didn't need them anymore. The past was truly past. His phone buzzed with a message from his friends. Game night at David's. You bringing someone special? He smiled, replied that he was, and closed his laptop. The apartment that had once echoed with loneliness now felt like a launching pad for whatever came next. And whatever came next, he'd face it as someone who finally understood his own value. Someone who'd learned to walk away from nothing and, in doing so, had found everything.